Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. It is Saturday, and that means we are back for another episode of my Saturday Shorts. Today we have two short stories in this episode. The first being from Night Shift by Stephen King, his first short story collection. This was published in 1978. We are talking about the short story in this collection titled Quitters Incorporated. This short story summary is around the main protagonist, Dick Morrison. He's not happy with his life and why he's at a bar and airport, drinking and smoking and reflecting on where he went wrong in life. He bumps into an old friend that seemingly has all of his life together. He's quit smoking, he's lost weight, he's got a new job. Everything that Dick wants is in what Jimmy McCann has found. And lo and behold, to him, he's like, I owe it all to this company called Quitters Incorporated. And as Dick is interested and starts asking some roundabout questions, Jimmy is like, I can't divulge any other methods. I signed a non-disclosure agreement, which only creates kind of the mystique of what's going on. He leaves Dick with a card for Quitters Incorporated and their address. And lo and behold, a few months go by and Dick is in the area in New York City, and he decides to take a chance and go in and see what it's all about on the referral. And so he goes and meets Vic Donati, which is kind of his caseworker at Quitters Incorporated. And the questions are very evasive, very personal, and it really puts him off. But lo and behold, he does come back the next day and sign an agreement with Quitters Incorporated, which signs him up for way more than he ever bargained for. What makes this a really good short story? Obviously, the absurdity of the method of how they go about guaranteeing that you're going to quit. I'm not going to spoil it by saying how they have such a high success rate, but let's just say they really have a vested interest in your success, and they will pull all the stops to ensure that you do. And so I really enjoyed it. It's just so absurd that it just really works well for a short story. Vic Donati, the caseworker, that the person he has the main contact with at Quitters Incorporated, is such a great character. He creates such a sense of dread, such an overbearing sense as a character for Dick and his wife, Cindy, that it just creates this allure. Obviously, you have the main thing that goes on when someone's quitting smoking. You have people that are naysayers and whatnot, and you can definitely see the early stages of how Dick is handling it, how he's wanting to, kind of flub up and the sense of dread that it causes, and he ends up doing so, and he gets to see the consequences, and does it help or does it hurt the relationship in the family? And so that's really the kind of the summary and what makes it really, really good. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was great. I remember it from the first time I read it. I didn't really come across any nuggets that I'm like, oh, I don't remember that, because I remember a lot of the points because it really sticks with you. So that's my first one. My second one, Jack London. I read The Call of the Wild. Boy, oh boy, I read this many years ago. And so this short story, Call of the Wild, is in this omnibus collection of Jack London's, some of his stories and short stories. This was published in 1903. It's 57 pages in length. Obviously, it's a frontier adventure story, but this is the summary is this is the story of Buck. He is a 140-pound, 4-year-old Scotch Shepherd and St. Bernard mix. He's ripped from his home in California, where he had kind of a cushy life for a dog, very civilized, and he's carted and dropped off with people that are on the Yukon Gold Trail in Alaska, and as a dog, his life, it completely changes. And so you get this story from the point of view of Buck, which is really, really well done, I think, especially for something that's, early 1900s, it was wrote. Buck's journey is incredible. It's really a fight to not only shed kind of his domesticated past, but to embrace kind of his more ancestral and wolf-like instincts, it really is around that. Over the course of this story, you get to see Buck, encounter cruelty, hardship, feelings of dread, different masters, both that are brutal, some that are kind, and ultimately he learns kind of like the harsh uh, bitterness of the wild and how it demands the respect of someone that is not only has perseverance, but it also pushes Buck to become the leader that I think he was destined to be as a dog. And so, what makes it a great short story for me is it's told through the dog's perspective, and it's so well done. I mean, you really get the emotion and different themes throughout this story that you're getting through a dog's perspective, which is just, it's really ingenious, especially for something that's over 120 years old when it was written. I mean, it is really genius. Obviously, it's a frontier story, so that in and of itself has its own kind of cachet with me. I mean, they're just enjoyable, especially if they're done well, and this one is. I really enjoyed the dramatic part of the beginning. He's ripped away from a civilized life with, I think it was the judge or his owner. And so he goes through many different hands and handlers. He has a distrust towards men and other beasts, but then at the end, he develops a trust and love of men, even though he's becoming more animalistic at the end, more kind of feral, more kind of authentic. And so I just really felt it was also heartwarming for 57 pages. I mean, I was just enamored by Buck as a dog. I obviously liked some of the other dogs as well. I thought London's writing was very vivid, unapologetic. I thought he made a very clear landscape. There was definitely raw emotions that were really that really came through in some of the writing. So I really enjoyed all those things. Was there any, negatives? No, I mean, absolutely not. I love this story. Some of the I don't really have excerpts, but I was going to tell you some parts. I mean, there's Curly and her death, Thornton Howe, the young, experienced frontier man. He evoked a lot of emotions from me, some of them anger. I loved the one scene. There was the bar bet. If Buck could pull 1,000-pound sled from a stop, it was great. I mean, I think if you like dogs and you're looking for something different, something that's not a huge investment, this is a great short story. I mean, I highly, highly recommend this. Obviously, there's been movie adaptations and TV adaptations for this back all the way to 1920 when, and then there's been the recent one was 2020 that starred Harrison Ford. So you have like 100 years of different TV and movie adaptations around this short story. So I gave Call of the Wild, I gave this a 4.8. 4.8 on as a short story, which is my highest short story thus far. And I think we are, if I remember, we're 9 short stories in this series, and this is my highest rated one yet. And I really enjoyed it. Obviously, when you get to 50 plus page length, you start getting into what maybe some would deem novella length. You definitely have more opportunity to flush things out, develop more environment, develop more characters, and it definitely comes through. But it read quick for me. So that's my short stories for this Saturday. Again, I cannot say this enough, but I am so enjoying every week having these little kind of things, little short stories to look forward to. I definitely am trying to keep it rotating. Again, I have yet to double up on any authors. And so I'm continuing to pick through my long list of different short stories. I will eventually come back to some, obviously. There's a lot of short stories to choose from various authors. So I hope you're having a great Saturday, and I will talk to you later. Thanks.